FPL game week 26 transfer targets. After back-to-back double game weeks, we've had yet another announced. That's not for another while though. So in today's video, we'll be going through some updates, some injury updates, as well as the Vert verified power ranking, my top 5 for the next 5 across all the positions. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe. Let's get into it. What's up? It's FPL Vert where arrows go green, and as you can see, they're currently not green. But the final game in game week 25 is today. We have Aston Villa versus Liverpool for potential table bonus, and of course there's double game week assets as well. So could get a green if Villa get a result, I believe. So fingers crossed on that one. But as I mentioned, there has been another double game week announced, and that's going to be for 32. So the blank caused by the Carabao Cup final for Newcastle side is going to be moved into game week 32. So as you can see, Newcastle have got 2 home fixtures against Man United and Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace have the lovely trip of going to City and Newcastle back to back in the same game week. So probably not the best for attacking returns. Maybe Henderson can get rack up some saves. As you can remember, well, last year I got Kaminsky from Luton. I called him Kasayski because he returned 7 points. So maybe we'll have a closer look closer to then. But it looks like Isak was probably going to be most people's triple captain if they still own it. So probably, for Isak, definitely do not be selling him. So Cody Gakpo owners were disappointed with news that he's not going to be available for the Villa game, which means he's going to score 0 points in a double game week against Wolves and Aston Villa away, which is obviously very disappointing. Who's going to be your auto sub? Mine will be Brian Mbeumo for 3 points, so it's not amazing, it's not the end of the world. Also, it could have been Hull, who is also coming on for me because James Hill didn't recover, so I'm getting the 0 points off the bench at some point anyway, but it's fine. But just with Liverpool defenders as well, Joe Gomez is expected to miss an extended period, so he's got a hamstring injury, so probably makes Konate's minutes better. But then Kwanzaa did play pretty well when he came on for Konate, who was probably not. I don't think it was a second yellow, but it looked like Konate was treading a thin line, so Slot removed him, and Kwanzaa did make a vital interception. So yeah, not too sure who would be the best. Obviously, I still believe Trent is the best, but Liverpool now blank in game week 29. So just one thing to keep in mind. Into the goalkeepers, and it comes down to pretty much personal preference. Of course, Pickford did not keep a clean sheet, but I think he has the best run up until game week 30, which I think is most people's wildcard windows, in my opinion. And you can swap him out to Henderson in game week 30, and of course Henderson will now double. So that's going to be my plan anyway. Just hold him until game week 30, and then swap him to Henderson. Of course, Flecken did keep a clean sheet, but Brentford are not good defensively. But yeah, a 10 pointer gets you on the ranking at least. Kepa, I don't really think. I mean, obviously, I think Kepa has got good fixtures, but I think the Bournemouth ideal triple up will probably include, a defender like Kirkes and then 2 of Kluivert and Semenyo or Ouattara. So, I don't think most people would actually go for Kepa personally, but he's got good fixtures and defensive data is not the worst, so he can be on here. Raya's only 4th because of the price. I just don't think he's worth the 5.5 personally, and I don't think the fixtures are the best either. And of course, Edison got an assist in the clean sheet, so he got 11 points. So he's featured on here, but I don't think anyone's really going to be bringing him in. Into the defenders, and as I presumed, Arsenal will be taking a defence-first mentality for the foreseeable, considering that their top 3 goal scorers in the Premier League are all out injured. And of course, they kept a clean sheet away at Leicester, which was a good defensive performance. Didn't really give up too many chances. And of course, Gabriel is still the number 1 threat from set pieces, so he gets a number 1 ranking for me. Number 2 comes Kirkes, as I told many privately and publicly as well. Southampton are scoring goals, so I don't think he was, you didn't have to take a hit to get in a Bournemouth defender last week, and as it proved, they didn't keep a clean sheet. But Kirkes and Huijsen are still top of the radar, really, for defenders. They play in game week 29, they have decent fixtures as well. Pedro Porro is an interesting one because, of course, Spurs don't really keep clean sheets, but of course Perro is the most exciting defender to own from the Spurs defence, and they've kept back-to-back clean sheets, so they get a mention, but I don't really think you'd bring him in. And of course Trent just gets here because he's Trent and he has unbelievable underlying numbers, but he does bank in 29. So let's see what happens in Game Week 26 against City. Of course he did score in this fixture last year, so let's see. Into the midfielders, and yes, Salah has now been displaced at number 1 just because of the blank in Game Week 29, and pretty much everyone owns him now anyway, really. I think if anyone didn't own him, they would have owned him after the Game Week 24 exploits. So we've got a new number 1, and it's actually Dan Tara, because his underlying metrics, both XG and expected goal involvement, are supreme. I mean, like, he racked up 0.8 XG alone in Game Week 25. So with someone playing out of position, of course he's classed as a midfielder, but he's playing up top for Bournemouth at the moment following their injuries. I do think with the value incorporated into it as well, I think he's the number 1 pick, really. Vert as well, he had 4 key passes again. It's just so central to what Bournemouth do, and of course he has the penalties as well. So those would be my top 2 for Bournemouth. Ethan Nwaneri makes the list because he got 3 bonus from just an assist, so that explains his influence in the game. Of course, it seems like he has to start at the moment, so I don't think expense is pretty a worry. It's just merely the fixtures that's pretty much the downer. But with the price, you can't really go wrong. Brian Mbeumo is interesting. Some people touting up as a potential captain. I don't see it at all, especially in an away game. It's not for me. But they do have great fixtures, and technically he plays in Game Week 29, but I don't think Bournemouth away is even a good fixture. So we'll have to monitor it until then. And of course Matoma makes the list because he scored a majestic goal. The touch was velvet-like, and he bent it around, was it Chalobah, I believe? So yeah, and he's been quietly tickling along. He's now, obviously he's past the 100-point mark in FPL now. Of course Minter got 2 goals, but I think Matoma is a bit more consistent. Into the forwards, and yes, you can call me a knee-jerker, but I'm sorry, if someone scores a hat-trick, they have to make the Vert verified power ranking. And when they're playing for City and they only cost 7.1 mil, I mean, it's a bargain, really. Liverpool at home, yeah, it's not the best fixture on paper, but will you be surprised if City score? Not really. Tottenham away, will you be surprised if City score? Not really. Will you be surprised if City score at Forest? Not really. So, I mean, of course, at the moment, it's about getting in the best captain for Game Week 29, which I believe right now will be Erling Haaland. Of course, we do have 3 game weeks now to just monitor Man City and see who's getting the chances, who they're falling to, and how they're setting up. It would be better if MARMOUSH was a midfielder because he's technically playing as a winger in the City team, but we'll discuss leading up to that. Cunha, of course, he's been a favourite for everyone all season. He just is that guy. He has just sheer quality. The goal at Anfield was incredible. He received the ball and he just put it on his weak foot and he bent it around the entire Liverpool defence, and it was a very nervy ending for the rest of Liverpool. In fact, Liverpool didn't even have a shot in the second half, so one thing to monitor perhaps. And of course at the price there's nothing you can go wrong with, really. The issue right now is which forwards do we get in for Game Week 29, because of course it could be Haaland, Marmoush and Cunha, maybe Beto, who scored in 3 games in a row now. But then do we sell Isak? That is the question, because I'm not going to use my free hit. I think it depends on if you're going to use a free hit or not, but I just don't want to lose value when I'm building a wildcard the next week or within 2 weeks. So that'll be the discussion to have, of course. But yeah, Mateta and Beto in great form at the moment, and they've got good fixtures. Of course, Mateta had blanks, so that's one thing to be aware of, as Isak. So again, as I said last week, I don't think anyone really will be activating their wildcard before around Game Week 30, so this is more just for an exercise just to see which players are the best at the moment. So this is what I'd go with. I'd go with Pickford in goal. I'd go with Trent and Salah, even though they're playing Man City away. I just think, if Liverpool score, those are the 2 that are most likely to be involved. Gabriel again, because of the reasons aforementioned. He's a massive threat from set pieces, and Arsenal are going to have to be extra defensive as they search, trying to grind out wins until their attackers return. And probably will do that anyway, as it's the second half of the season. Kirk is because I just think he's a fullback, playing for Bournemouth, and it's exciting. And Clive and Danga is the ideal midfield triple up. In Mbeumo's away to Leicester, and then you've got Cunha away to Bournemouth, and you've got Isak and Wood facing off. in what should be a good game. Of course, Wood just keeps defying the underlying metrics and keeps scoring from not even half chances. So this is how I'd be lining up in a wild card. Of course, Tarkowski would be here, as would Robinson, because they play in game 29, and then Henderson just because he'll be doubling up. Well, he'll be doubling in game 32. So short video today, but that's just the transfer targets for game week 26. We'll be back with the team selection tomorrow, as there's a deadline on Friday. So thanks for watching. Leave any questions you have in the comments or DM me. I'll see you soon.